Testing.
Hello.
Ready?
Okay la.
All go, no?
Atera.
Okay.
You are our youngest guest so far.
Actually?
Yeah.
Perfect. Until 6th standard it was all fine. But then മാത്സിൽ അവർ എക്സും വൈയൊക്കെ ഇട്ടല്ലോ. അപ്പം എൻ്റെ തലേന്ന് പോയെല്ലാം. If you want to improve English, follow these 2 tips. കാണോ അതാരെങ്കിലും? She asked, എടാ നീ എൻ്റെ അനിയനൊന്ന് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് പഠിപ്പിക്കുമോ എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു. പിന്നെ നീ വീട്ടിൽ കൊണ്ടുപോവാ കാശിട്ടുമല്ലോ.
കേരളത്തിലല്ല ഇന്ത്യയിൽ ഒരുപാട് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ട്രെയിനിങ് ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂട്ട്സ് ഉണ്ട്. How Brightside differ from them?
But what I understood is that I'm going to keep Brightside a place where you can come for entertainment, come for wasting a little bit of your time, have a laugh or so, and you'll only notice the difference, what differentiates us from all the other institutions after the first lesson. Now we're launching a new pre-recorded course for people that know English. My father is a really great sportsman. He's tried basketball, football, badminton. പുള്ളിക്കാരൻ ചെയ്യാത്ത സ്പോർട്സേ ഇല്ല ഈ ലോകത്ത് എക്സെപ്റ്റ് ബോക്സിംഗ് because he didn't want to get it.
ഒരു ബിസിനസ് ആവുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഫേസ് ചെയ്ത ചലഞ്ചസ് എന്തൊക്കെയായിരുന്നു?
Okay, I shouldn't say this, but compared to all the entrepreneurs which you guys have interviewed, my life has been consistently easy, which is something I always curse myself for. Karnam, in the 3 years of Brightside English, we haven't done a single advertisement.
But what do you enjoy the most? Teaching part or the running business part?
The money which you make is nowhere near the satisfaction you get when you show the student that one secret or that one thing, and then you see their eyes glow. And then you feel like, oh man, I just changed this person's life.
ഇപ്പൊ ഫിലിം ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിയിൽ ഒരുപാട് ഇഷ്യൂസ് നടക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതല്ലാതെ തന്നെ ഇപ്പം ഈവൻ ഹൈസ്കൂൾ സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് വരെ പ്രഗ്നന്റ് ആയിട്ട് ഒരുപാട് ഇഷ്യൂസ് ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ട്.
A lot of my friends have also asked me to just try one. What's so bad in it, you know? And I'm like, no, I just don't want to. This is what I enjoy. Meeting new people. Family time is important, right? The time you spend with your family and your friend, those are the most important aspects in life. But I'm glad that I sacrificed everything else. Things which you can afford to sacrifice, not just sacrifice it.
We are all about bringing fresh faces and epic stories. Welcome to WiseUp podcast. Today we have Jonah Joy with us. He is the managing director of Brightside English. കേരളത്തിലും പുറത്തുമായി ഒരുപാട് പേരെ കോൺഫിഡൻ്റ് ആയി ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് സംസാരിക്കാൻ ട്രെയിൻ ചെയ്യുകയും അവരുടെ ലൈഫും കരിയറും തന്നെ മാറ്റിമറിച്ച ഒരാളാണ് നമ്മുടെ കൂടെ ഉള്ളത്. വെൽക്കം ടു ദി ഷോ.
Thank you for having me.
So, Jonah,
Yes.
ഇപ്പൊ ഒരുപാട് ബിസിനസ് വേർട്ടിക്കൽസിലേക്ക് ഇറങ്ങുന്നുണ്ട്, സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. Why an English speaking academy?
That's a nice question. I guess usually when you have to do a business, you have to do something which you're good at, right? Primarily. So, ചെറുപ്പം തൊട്ട് തന്നെ പഠിക്കണതിൽ I was not the greatest. I remember that I had to go for a lot of tuitions. പഠിച്ചത് I was born here, but then I was raised in Oman, Muscat. My father is working over there.
Okay.
So, അവിടെ വെച്ച് until 6th standard it was all fine. But then മാത്സിൽ അവർ എക്സും വൈയൊക്കെ ഇട്ടല്ലോ. അപ്പം എൻ്റെ തലേന്ന് പോയെല്ലാം. It was horrible. മമ്മി കുറെ കഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടിട്ടാണ് എന്നെ പഠിപ്പിക്കാൻ വെച്ചത്. And then I came back over here in 7th. കാരണം എനിക്കൊരു സിസ്റ്റർ ഉണ്ട്. ചേച്ചി ഇപ്പൊ കാനഡയിലാണ്. But അവിടെ കോളേജിങ് ഓപ്പർച്യൂണിറ്റീസ് അത്ര നല്ലതല്ല. There's either only engineering or doctorate or something. So ഒപ്പിച്ച് നമ്മൾ നാട്ടിൽ തിരിച്ചു പോന്നു. So ഇവിടെ വന്നപ്പോൾ I was struggling with maths. 9th ഞാൻ ഫെയിൽ ആയി. എന്നിട്ട് പിന്നെയും റീടെസ്റ്റ് ഒക്കെ എഴുതിയിട്ടാണ് പാസ്സായത്. But then in Oman, where I was studying in an Indian school. So അവിടെ എല്ലാവരും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. People from Chennai, Kerala, from Bangalore, Kolkata, everyone was there. But the thing is, because everyone came from different backgrounds, the only one language they spoke was English. So മസ്കന് തിരിച്ചു വന്നപ്പോൾ it was a bit difficult because എനിക്ക് മലയാളം പറയാനായിരുന്നു ഇച്ചിരി കൂടെ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ട്. സംസാരിക്കുന്ന രീതികളും ആ സ്ലാങ് കാര്യങ്ങൾ പഠിച്ചെടുക്കാൻ it was a little bit difficult. But then in Oman, because I used to speak English every single day since KG1 to like 7th or so, it became much more natural to me. I think in English, speak in English, everything, whatever I do or see is in English. And then the movies which I watched, I always enjoyed copying the dialogues and repeating it back to them, which is something I did to pass my time. So, പിന്നീട് I think it was in 8th or 9th or something, a friend of mine, she asked, എടാ നീ എൻ്റെ അനിയനൊന്ന് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് പഠിപ്പിക്കുമോ എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചു. പിന്നെ നീ വീട്ടിൽ കൊണ്ടുപോവാ കാശിട്ടുമല്ലോ. So അങ്ങനെ ഞാൻ പഠിപ്പിക്കാൻ തുടങ്ങിയായിരുന്നു. It was super simple. I was just showing him how I did this. But then he was like, okay, it's working and stuff. അവന് നല്ല മാർക്കൊക്കെ ആയി. And then he told his friends. And then his friends told their friends. So I had around 3 to 4 people coming over every day,
Okay.
and they were learning English. അങ്ങനെ പ്രത്യേകിച്ച്. And then the entire concept of getting paid went away from my mind. So I think for the first 2 years, I was just teaching English because I loved it. Now, along this, I was also doing boxing. I was doing a lot of sports. All of these things were going on the side. And അത് compete ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട് ഒരു നിലയിലൊക്കെ എത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. But this was one thing which I always enjoyed doing. കാരണം whenever I did sports, it felt like work for me. But when I was teaching English, it was relaxing for me. എന്തെങ്കിലും ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ I was like, oh, finally, it's class time now. All the stress is going to go. അങ്ങനെ തുടങ്ങിയപ്പോൾ it went really, really well. So that's when I was like, okay, maybe there's something which we could do over here. So that was the beginning, sort of. So അങ്ങനെ ഇതെല്ലാം തോന്നിയത് തന്നെ.
സാധാരണ എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു ഒരു ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ട്രെയിനിങ് ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂട്ട് എന്നൊക്കെ പറയുന്ന ഇതിലേക്ക് എത്തുന്ന ആൾക്കാര് അവർക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും ലൈഫിൽ മുന്നേ ചലഞ്ചസ് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ടാവും ലൈക്ക് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് സ്പീക്കിംഗിൽ. അങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരുപാട് പേര് പിന്നെ അത് കോൺകർ ചെയ്യും ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂട്ട് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുകയും ഒക്കെ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. സോ യുവർ സ്റ്റോറി ഇസ് ഡിഫറെന്റ്. പക്ഷെ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ലൈക്ക് ഇത് ഒരു ട്രെയിനിങ് ഒക്കെ എല്ലാവർക്കും കൊടുത്തു തുടങ്ങി ഇതൊരു ബിസിനസ് എന്ന സൈഡിലേക്ക് മാറ്റാം ഏത് പോയിന്റിലായിരുന്നു തോന്നിയത്?
Well, during this time, I wasn't getting paid at all. I was just doing it because I had fun. And then I was looking for other opportunities and things. So, mainly terrace under. So I thought maybe desk it. But then I was like, why not teach online? I have a laptop and things. So then I found this one amazing freelance network and I started working over there. So adake area pathottu I was teaching like 60 to 70 students one-on-one for 2 or 3 months consistently. So ആ സമയത്ത് എനിക്ക് എൻ്റെ ഓഫ്ലൈൻ സ്റ്റുഡൻസിനെ പഠിപ്പിക്കാൻ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ട് തോന്നി. So I was like, okay, കാരണം എനിക്ക് കൈവിടാൻ തോന്നില്ല. I've already raised them up to this much and I can't leave them there. So I was like, I have friends who study with me from Muscat itself. And there was this one girl called Advika. She spoke just like me and stuff. So I was like, Advika, look, there's this small thing which I have. I have like 4 or 5 students. Would you teach them for me? And she was like, yeah, sure. And then I was like, oh, you'll get paid and stuff too. So she was the first teacher which I ever had.
First staff.
Exactly. Staff, I'm not sure. She was just a friend helping me in order to teach English. അങ്ങനെ പറയാൻ തോന്നുള്ളൂ. So then I was like, okay, fine. She's doing well.
Is she with you now?
She is still with me. She's the oldest staff I have now. So she technically was the first teacher of Brightside English. And she taught really well. I showed her how to teach. I taught her how you can find materials to teach, how to make it feel like it's not a lesson, but you're having a conversation. And at the end of the lesson, they feel like, oh, ഇതൊക്കെ ഞാൻ പഠിച്ചോ അതെങ്ങനെ എന്നിട്ട് തോന്നിട്ട് ഞാനെല്ലാം പഠിപ്പിച്ചു കൊടുത്തു. And then those friends told their friends. And then they started telling their friends. So now I had an inflow of students which I couldn't handle. So then I was like, all right, I'm going to pause freelancing for one side. And I'm going to focus on this and getting a few more friends of mine and then making them teach. This being a company, this going to be whatever it is now, ഒരു ചിന്ത ഉണ്ടായില്ല എനിക്ക്. I was like, okay, me and my friends teach English. That's it. So that was the first few steps of making this into a business. But yes,
tutors
as of now, I have 63 staff. Overall 63 staff, yes.
How many students?
I think in the last month itself, we took around 200 to 300 a month. So overall, I think 2.5 to 3,000 students we've taught overall. So yeah, pretty cool.
So Jonah, ഒരു ചെറിയൊരു ബിസിനസ് സെറ്റപ്പ് എന്ന് ഐ മീൻ ഒരു എന്താ പറയുക കുറച്ച് സ്റ്റുഡൻസിന് ട്യൂഷൻ പോലെ ചെയ്യുന്നതെന്ന് ഇപ്പോൾ ഇതൊരു പ്രോപ്പർ ബിസിനസ് ആയി രജിസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്ത് അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ആയല്ലോ. സോ ഒരു ബിസിനസ് ആവുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഫേസ് ചെയ്ത ചാലഞ്ചസ് എന്തൊക്കെയായിരുന്നു?
It was actually not that. Okay, I shouldn't say this, but compared to all the entrepreneurs which you guys have interviewed, my life has been consistently easy, which is something I always curse myself for. കാരണം ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുകൾ ഉണ്ടാകുമ്പോഴാണ് ഒരാൾക്ക് നന്നായിട്ടൊന്ന് ചാലഞ്ച് ചെയ്ത് ഉയരാൻ പറ്റുന്നത്. And thankfully, because I have amazing parents, my life has been very, very simple. So one thing which I developed was learning from other people's mistakes. I'm the type of person that doesn't necessarily go out a lot. I enjoy staying home. And because of that, I don't have a lot of experience a normal teenager should have, you know? So because of that, I understood, all right, there are a lot of people that are doing various things, not just teaching English. Let me analyze them, see what they're doing wrong, and let's steer away from that. Because usually in your 20s is when you make the most mistakes, right? So I was like, I don't want to afford that, because if it's just me, then I can bear all the mistakes. But now I have people that are depending on me for their salaries, students that are depending on interviews and all these other important aspects. So I was like, all right, let me keep that to one side. Let me analyze everyone that has tried anything. And then I'll make sure that I don't do whatever mistakes they made. So starting off, one challenge which I had was ഇത് ഞാൻ മമ്മിയോടും പപ്പയോടും പറഞ്ഞത് എനിക്ക് ആദ്യത്തെ സ്റ്റുഡന്റ് കിട്ടിയിട്ടാണ്. Before that, the 6 months when I was working, they didn't know anything. I like showing results instead of showing when I'm doing these things per se. So the first challenge was balancing studies with this, because thankfully I'm very smart in studying, no? So because of this, making sure that I handle tuitions, teaching, boxing, sports, all those things, and maybe some entertainment along with that, balancing that would be the most difficult aspect, I think, in the onset stages. Then there were a few challenges which I hope we'll talk about, but this was the first thing, balancing studies and everything else which I enjoy, and making sure this grows at a particular rate as well.
എനിക്ക് ഇപ്പൊ ജോന കുറച്ച് മുന്നേ പറഞ്ഞു ഐ ലവ് ടീച്ചിങ് എന്ന്.
Mhm.
ഒരു ടീച്ചർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആ ഒരു പ്രൊഫഷൻ ഒരു ബിസിനസ് റൺ ചെയ്യുന്ന രീതിയിലേക്ക് മാറുകയാണല്ലോ. അവിടെ ഒരു പൊസിഷൻ ചേഞ്ചസ് നടക്കില്ലേ. അപ്പോൾ വാട്ട് ഡു യു എൻജോയ് ദ മോസ്റ്റ്, ടീച്ചിങ് പാർട്ട് ഓർ ദി റണ്ണിങ് ബിസിനസ് പാർട്ട്?
I guess now it's more of the business aspect, but I think what made me reach that level was the teaching part. Whenever you teach a person, it isn't like other businesses, teaching per se, because if you're really passionate about what you do, the money which you make is nowhere near the satisfaction you get when you show the student that one secret or that one thing, and then you see their eyes glow. And then you feel like, oh man, I just changed this person's life. So angana kanumblana, then you feel that satisfaction, you know, which is why I think I was able to teach 2 to 3 years without taking any money, because I was sort of like a drug to me. This euphoria which they would feel when they understood, like, oh, anganeyanale ennu manasilavunna that moment, no, that was the most enjoyable part. But after that, once I've hired teachers that are much better than me now, this is what I enjoy. Meeting new people, talking to people who I never thought I would meet. There have been a lot of people in your podcast itself that I've had the chance to meet and talk to. And just now I'm able to do things which I always wanted to do. So without anyone knowing, I do a lot of charity work. There are a lot of people near my house and stuff that are very interested in sports. Now I'm a boxer too. So I always constantly donate either a heavy bag, boxing gloves, or things anonymously. All of these things they never know. So things like that, this business has allowed me to do. So that's what I enjoy the most now. So yeah.
ഇപ്പൊ ഓൾറെഡി പറഞ്ഞു ടീച്ചിങ് ഒരു അഡിക്ഷനായി മുന്നോട്ട് കൊണ്ടുപോകാണ്. ഈ അഡിക്ഷന്റെ കാര്യം പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മുടെ ന്യൂസ് തുറന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഡ്രഗ്സും
Tell me about it.
ഇപ്പൊ ഫിലിം ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിയിൽ ഒരുപാട് ഇഷ്യൂസ് നടക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അതല്ലാതെ തന്നെ ഇപ്പം ഈവൻ ഹൈസ്കൂൾ സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് വരെ ഡ്രഗിന് അഡിക്റ്റ് ആയിട്ട്
Indeed,
ഒരുപാട്
yes.
ഇഷ്യൂസ് ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ട്. സോ എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഇത്ര യങ് ഏജിൽ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു പാഷൻ ഫൈൻഡ് ഔട്ട് ചെയ്യും, അതിന് ലൈക്ക് ഇപ്പൊ ഒരു സിഇഒ എന്നുള്ളൊരു പൊസിഷനിൽ എത്തിക്കുന്നത്? എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഈ ഒരു ഇതിലേക്ക്
That's actually a very good
drive
question.
ചെയ്യുന്നത്?
കാരണം ഞാൻ പഠിച്ച സമയത്ത് there were a lot of people that were struggling with drugs and stuff. We had a tour to go to Munnar, but a few people in my class had brought something to class, and then the tour got cancelled and things. So this has always been there. I think it's just something which you need to stay away from. I don't know why. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I've never tried anything at all. I think I've just always been. My father is a really great sportsman. He's tried basketball, football, badminton. പുള്ളിക്കാരൻ ചെയ്യാത്ത സ്പോർട്സേ ഇല്ല ഈ ലോകത്ത്, except boxing, because he didn't want to get hit. But because of this, I've always been, from a very young age, I've always been addicted to sports. Things like that, the euphoria of winning, whenever you lose, that fire which you have in order to become better. Something like that has made me addicted to that from a very young age. So that competition aspect in my life has always been there. Now, I think because of that, I've never let go or so. But I can't also say it's luck. Karnam, a lot of my friends have also asked me to just try one. What's so bad in it, you know? And I'm like, no, I just don't want to. Now, one thing which I know, a lot of my cousins, a lot of people that are younger than me, they are pushed to the scene in order to keep their friends. So now, if you don't do these type of things, then they push you away in a way. Now, if you have to do that, then your path is completely destroyed. Because then even if you don't enjoy what you're doing, you have to do it because you need these friends. So that's just something which is horribly sad though. So there have been times when people offered me and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm fine with being alone. I enjoy being alone and stuff too. So needing that connection had never been there. So I think using those passions into something which is productive, that's something which has always been a part of me too. It was sports first. After that, I got into reading philosophy, and then it became teaching. So no matter what I do, it has to be good, something that doesn't cause harm to anything as well. So yes, using those type of things help you improve in things. So yeah.
ഇപ്പം നോക്കുമ്പം എന്തൊക്കെ ഹാബിറ്റ്സ് പ്രയോറിറ്റൈസ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഇപ്പൊ ഈ ഒരു സിറ്റുവേഷനിൽ എത്തിക്കുന്നത്?
That's a nice question. Habits, അല്ലേ?
Yeah.
I think because I don't do a lot of stuff, I can't make mistakes. But some people, everyone says you have to make mistakes to grow.
Yeah.
So now I'm sitting there thinking like, so do I do stupid stuff, make mistakes, learn from them? Or do I learn people and then analyze them and then study what they did wrong? I chose the second option.
Okay.
So what I did was, I don't like reading. Cherpatote, I read comic books. I read storybooks, maybe, but I'm more of a visual learner.
Okay.
I like to watch a lot of movies and things. That's how I used to learn too. But then I was like, okay, look, I'm going to do something. I need to make this big because now people are depending on me too. രണ്ട് teachers ഉണ്ടായുള്ളൂ, but I'm like, this is big. 2 teachers. I have to make sure that I make sure that these people stay with me and stuff. So I decided that I'm going to start reading. So I decided that once a month, I do at least 2 books. So as of now, I finished like 70 to 100 books, mostly
Wow,
business and
great.
stuff.
that's-
Really? Isn't that
Yeah.
great?
Yeah.
I've seen people read like 6 books a month,
Yeah.
and that's just insane. But yeah, 2 books a
അത്
month.
ടോപ്പ് 1%
Exactly, yeah.
ഞാനിപ്പം റീസ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട് റീഡിങ്.
ആണല്ലേ?
ഒരു ബുക്കെങ്കിലും ഒരു മന്ത് വായിക്കണം.
ഇപ്പൊ ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടാൻ തുടങ്ങിയിട്ടുണ്ട് കേട്ടോ. Now I find fun like relating
So
this
what
to that.
do you read mostly?
I started off with philosophy, right? Because one thing which I
Bore
understood,
അടിക്കില്ലേ ഫിലോസഫിക്ക്?
yes, starting off it did. It started getting boring. But then there's this one YouTuber which I really aspire, and he got into philosophy. So I was like, fine, I'll try it off. And then that really helped me. Now, the double-edged sword of philosophy is that what I learned was stoicism, which is basically nothing that happens around you will affect you, whether it be happiness, sadness, or so. It doesn't bother you at all. So whenever my friends offered me something to try and then they let me alone or something, it would sometimes make me feel lonely. So that's what pruned me into philosophy. So after that, I never felt lonely at all. I was happier than I ever have been. Still am. But the problem of that is basically philosophy, which I've learned, is that എന്ത് ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുണ്ടായാലും, whatever is making you angry, you never get angry. Whatever makes you sad, you never get sad. And that's fine too. But the opposite, you never get excited about anything. Whenever you achieve something, you never feel that like, oh, I did it anyway, you know? So it's sort of like a double-edged sword too. But thankfully, because of that, I've never been stuck at something, you know? For some people, maybe hitting 100,000 followers would be their life goal, which was mine too.
Yeah.
But because of what I've learned, other kind of I was like, okay, next, let's move on to the next. Sometimes it's kind of bad because I never stop to look and say that, wow, I've done something great. Instead, I'm just like, all right, what's next? Let's move on. So that's something which I read a lot too. And now I read a lot of business books too, strategy books which I need to implement. Because one thing about English, which is really annoying, when you want to start dropshipping, when you want to start stocks, when you want to start anything, there are 100,000 videos you can watch up online. Google how to start an English agency, there'll be nothing. So I was walking in blind. I was driving a motorcycle in the dark with no helmet or anything. This was the problem, which was, so I had to read a lot of business books, do a lot of trial and error, see what works and stuff. And then finally, here I am now with the system which I think works very well, but it's going okay. So reading a lot of business books helped me see those type of things too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
സോ നമ്മൾ യങ്സ്റ്റേഴ്സിന്റെ കേസ് പറയുമ്പോൾ ഇപ്പോൾ ഡ്രഗ് അഡിക്ഷൻ്റെ കാര്യമൊക്കെ ഒരു നെഗറ്റീവ് സൈഡ് പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ, അതേപോലെ തന്നെ ഒരു പോസിറ്റീവ് സൈഡ് ഉണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരുപാട് പേര് സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് ബിസിനസ് എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് വരുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ ടീനേജേഴ്സ് ആയാലും ഏർലി ട്വന്റീസിലുള്ള ആളുകളാണെങ്കിലൊക്കെ. സോ അവരോട് എന്ത് അഡ്വൈസ് ആയിരിക്കും ജോനാന്റെ സക്സസ് എന്ന് പറയാനുണ്ടാവുക? പ്ലസ് ഐ ഓൾസോ വാണ്ട് യുവർ ടോപ്പ് 5 ബുക്ക് റെക്കമെൻഡേഷൻ ഫോർ
Top 5? Sure. Okay. One thing which you said, recently I went to this award function and there were only like 3 or 4 people who are above 30. Everyone else is super young, which is insane. I don't think you'll find that anywhere else in the world too. So that drive which young people have is amazing. But sadly, that's still the top 1% of over here. The 99% are still finding out what they want to do in life, or they're struggling with whatever problems they have and stuff too, right? But if you're a person that's trying to be someone, something that none of your family members have ever tried, something that you want to do something great, you know, one thing which I would say, if you're under 25, mostly what you're naturally genetically inclined to do is try something fun, right? Whatever you want to do, you want to travel, you want to try out different kind of things, you want to date or whatever it is, which is all amazing. But sacrifices are essential when you want to do something great. Now, me personally, because I don't do a lot of fun stuff, only thing which I needed to sacrifice, which was a big sacrifice, was time with my family, time with my friends, and entertainment. these three things hit me like a truck because, oh shit, and food too. And food too. Because after a heavy day's work, the only thing which I look forward to is probably like some KFC or something.
Okay.
So stuff like that, you have to be willing to sacrifice. So analyze yourself. What is it that you do a lot? What is your day looking like? And what do you do the most? If those things aren't productive, you have to cut that out. Now, there was a moment where Brightside English was growing exponentially. I had like 20 staff or so. And then I was like working like 12 to 15 hours every single day. എന്ത് വന്നാലും 10 സമയം ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ എനിക്ക് ഉറക്കം വരും. So I sleep at 10:30. I wake up at 6 a.m. also and start working. But then I noticed like it's been 6 months since I saw my friends like hanging out, except college. It's been 4 or 5 months since I took my mom out. And I was like, okay, look, what I'm achieving is great. But is it really worth it? Now, inside me, there was this fire which I miss today now. But then every single entrepreneur who has succeeded in life, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all of these people say that family time is important, right? The time you spend with your family and your friend, those are the most important aspects in life. But me, when I was 19, I was like, I don't think so. Friends will always be there, no? And I can always have them. Family will always be there. But I was like, all right, fine. Learn from other people's mistakes. Because they always said, I regret not being able to spend time with this, spend time with that. So I was like, well, that doesn't make sense, but fine. I'll work only 6 hours a day now, and I'll spend more time with my family. It was amazing. Enike kitna sandosham is when I take my mom outside, or when I go out with my friends, or when I surprise my friends or family with something like this. And that really made me happy. And I was willing to sacrifice the growth which I had. So I was like, okay, Brightside is going to stop growing now, but I'll deal with it later. My mom is my important
അങ്ങനെ
thing.
ആവില്ലല്ലോ ആ ഗ്രോത്തിന്റെ പെർസെന്റേജ് ചിലപ്പോൾ കുറേ ആയിരിക്കും എന്നുള്ളതല്ലോ.
Exactly. I was thinking this is going to slow down now because now I'm not working 12 hours or so. But then we reached 500,000 followers and stuff. More students started coming in. I'm not sure what the reason was, but I think that I hit a wall where now I was just blindly being disciplined. I used to do my work. Endu vannalum, no excuses, no matter what. But then I was just burning out a lot more. But I still didn't stop. I was just like, fine, I'm not comfortable. I'm not happy, but I'll do it sad. I'll do it uncomfortably. But then when I was spending more time with my family, I think that passion or that fire came back again when I started seeking enjoyment in these things again.
Okay.
So whatever I did, the quality came back or something. I still don't know. But then it just grew. I think thrice or 4 times the speed as it was before. So yeah. So one advice, just make sure that you don't waste your time doing things that you can enjoy later or so.
Yeah.
Make sure that you sacrifice as much as humanly possible. But no matter what happens, don't sacrifice your family time and don't sacrifice the time with your friends. Because right now I'm sitting here, my college is over. I wish I went to play football that one time. I wish I went out to hang out with those friends when they called me. But I have the results that show for it. Because of that, I got 16, 17 students or so. But thinking back, it was like, maybe I should have gone out, But I'm glad that I sacrificed everything else. I didn't watch YouTube or Netflix for like 6 months. I didn't sleep for like a good amount of time. I never played video games. Thankfully, I'm not addicted to any other things. So other than Daitila. So things which you can afford to sacrifice, are not just sacrifice it. Everything else, family, friends, keep that with your side too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So പെർസീവറൻസിനെ പറ്റിയും കൺസിസ്റ്റൻസിനെ പറ്റിയൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ പറയാറുണ്ട് യങ്സ്റ്റേഴ്സിനോട്. പക്ഷേ ഡിസിപ്ലിൻ, ഹൗ ഇമ്പോർട്ടന്റ് ഇസ് ദിസ്?
Oh my, without discipline, there's nothing you can do. For the last 3 years, every single day, I've made 2 reels and posted every single day, consistently, day or night, Wi-Fi or not. I've posted that thing, and
every day.
every single day. That's something which I haven't stopped as well. There were times when I had to go for the IV with my college and stuff too. So it was a 5-day IV. So the previous day, I made the 5 reels beforehand. There were times when I knew that Mara Peyum, current boom endu vannalum. So I was like, screw it. I'm making 3 reels today. So doing, and this is all I did. I can sit here and say like, oh, my business mind is amazing. What I've done is absolutely insane. Nah, the thing is, one thing which I've done consistently has brought me all of these students. In the 3 years of Brightside English, we haven't done a single advertisement. Everything that we've got is through organic content as well.
Okay.
Trial and error and all those things are there. But if it wasn't for discipline, then there's no chance that I would be where I am right now. Now, I think I have to thank boxing for that particularly because it's not a fun sport, isn't it? But when you force yourself to do something that you don't like, then there's nothing that can stop you. Now, most entrepreneurs that I met, even at the award functions and stuff too, highly motivated individuals. കയ്യൊക്കെ shake ചെയ്യണ കാണാം. ഇങ്ങനെ ഇരിക്കുമല്ലോ എന്ത് വന്നാലും. They're always like that. But the problem which I noticed of those people is that they start off super high,
Yeah.
but then the thing dips again.
Okay.
And then it goes super high again, and then it dips again. So it's inconsistency when it comes to doing your work.
Mm.
So what I understood is like, okay, maybe once a week I'll be happy doing this work as well, but I'm not going to stop. So the thing just goes in a straight line. It doesn't stop instead. So because of this, it gradually went up.
Okay.
So for the first 3 or 4 months, I got like what 2,100 views or something. It was not going that great. Now this was the moment where I was like, I'm stopping this thing. For what? I'm spending like 3 to 4 hours finding content, editing it.
When was this?
This was in the first year of college.
Right. Okay.
What year was that? I'm great at maths, so okay, first year of college. Let's just say it like that. So in the first year of college, this was when I decided I was doing a little bit of content here and there, but once a day I'm going to post no matter what happens. So ഈ സമയത്ത് I was doing very basic, like if you want to improve English, follow these 2 tips. കാണോ അതാരെങ്കിലും? So I did that and it went super bad and stuff. But the thing is, you spend 1 to 2, because beginning onlo, I'm not that skilled yet. It takes 2 to 3 hours for me to find, edit, and create and film all these things too. After those, the hard work which you put into that to get 3-4 views, who do you lay them? So yeah, that went on for every single day. It was horrible. I edit something, I think this is going to be the reel, and then it gets 3 views.
Okay.
Disappointed again. Fine, go back to work, edit this again, 100 views. Oh, that's nice. Next day, 2 views again. So it just, now this thing went on for 4 months.
Okay.
Can you do something that you get no results for, where you put so much hard work and you get consistently very bad results? And then you do that for 4-5 months, nothing happened. And that was the most difficult aspect of this content creation thing. I was doing something so bad, something had to change, but I didn't stop. I was like, okay, fail or not, you're going to do this for consistently for 4 to 5 months. And then this one reel, it was about Nirmala Sitharaman. She was making a reel about GST or something. And then there was this one word.
I saw
You saw that,
that.
didn't
I
you?
saw that reel. Yeah.
There was this one word which she said. And this was a low effort reel. You obviously know the things which you put no effort in, that's the one which does very well.
Yeah.
Which is so okay, anyway. So it got like, I'm sitting in class, right? Phone pocket like him. So I'm getting these notifications again and again. So it's like, your reel has hit 10k views. I jumped from my seat. Jonah, sit down. What are you doing? Oh, sorry, miss. There's an ant in my seat or something. So I sat down. I was like, 10,000 views. I was like, oh my God. So that was really insane. And
So
then
that was the first
that was the
one.
first thing that went viral in a way. So, and then
She uses this word in it.
she used this one word, and then I just explained what it was, and then I said, join my classes.
Yeah.
That's it. So that reel did 10k.
That reel made me a follower.
Did you actually?
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, and it was 80k, and the next day I woke up, it was 200k. And then from that reel alone, it brought me from 2,000 followers to 80,000 followers in like a span of weeks. So then I was like, all right, I'm going to do this again. I'm not going to stop now. So then I was going back to the normal boring content again. And I was like, okay, I need to watch the reel, which was basically reacting to a celebrity or this one person. And then what is she saying well? So I followed that again. Then it started growing consistently. So then it went over a phase, and then it went to okay-ish, and then it started growing well. And then one thing which I made sure is after that, I allowed my teachers. By then, I had 4 or 5 teachers.
Okay.
2 of them were really good looking, and they were really well articulate too, like you are. They were able to communicate their thoughts very well. So I was like, look, we have 80,000 followers now. Do you want to make a reel with us? Because you have to pay these content creators now. So I was like, isn't this, imagine your friends looking like 80k, like that's going to be so cool. So I had to give them an incentive to like work for this. And they were like, yes, of course. So then she started working. And then one thing which I made sure is that when people come to Instagram or YouTube Shorts, they don't come for education. They come for entertainment.
Yeah.
They come here to spend their time, to waste their time, whatever it is. That's the main reason why I think we've been able to grow so far, is because whatever reel you watch, you don't feel like you're learning something.
Yeah.
You feel like you're watching something, making me make fun of celebrities or something. So Angana Kanamba, then they'll feel like, okay, I'll scroll a little bit more. When you make a person scroll instantly, that's because you made them bored.
Yeah.
So making sure that you make a controversial opinion or saying something that grabs their attention is really important.
Yeah.
So that's what I stuck to in the beginning, early content days and stuff. So another thing, don't sell. whatever you say, don't say buy this, buy that. ആ വാക്കേ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടില്ല. I made my teacher say never sell anything. Just tell them we do one-on-one classes. Check it out. That's the only thing which we used and stuff too. So yes, those were the early content days where I was struggling with finding the contents and things, and I was editing this stuff too. Now I have another friend of mine who's an amazing editor, and then he edits for me as well, and he's also creating the scripts for 4 or 5 other content creators who are teachers itself, and they themselves are looking.
So our frequency of content ഇപ്പോഴും ഉണ്ടോ
It
daily?
doesn't stop. Yeah, never stops. Now we're doing we're aiming for 4 times a day now.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
It's just something which I've understood. A lot of these huge content people, they have a lot of volume and stuff too. So I tried a lot of stuff. Was it quality? Was it quantity? Adellam try നോക്കിയപ്പോൾ it's a genuine mix of both. So when you do a reel that is funny and educational, but it's also short, and you do that a lot of times, then it's important.
Yeah.
So one thing which I was doing in the beginning, early days in the first year, 3 മണിക്കൂർ എടുക്കും ഞാൻ ഒരു reel ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ. So that was not feasible. So then I understood, find these short clips, create a 30-second video, and then edit it. So now the editing time is just 10 minutes. So that I replicated to my editor now, and that's why we're able to output a lot. So my day goes like after I teach a few lessons ratri, before I rest or so, I find this one reel, I find something interesting in it, I film it, edit it, 15 minutes, khalas done. And then morning I wake up, 15 minutes again, 2 reels finished.
Okay.
So the only thing was this college was such a constricting factor. It was so annoying because I'm seeing all of these friends of mine who are doing so great in life. They were building businesses and all these things. So I was like, I want to, but say sem, I can't. It was so annoying. Adhyatha samayathe, my parents started finding out that I'm doing these things slowly. So they were super supportive. Okay, these people were amazing. But then there was this one semester, my grades dipped a little bit. So my parents were like, Jonah, ചെയ്യുന്നതൊക്കെ നല്ലതാണ്, പക്ഷേ മാർക്ക് കുറഞ്ഞാൽ നീ പരിപാടി നിർത്തേണ്ടി വരും കേട്ടോ, because you can't blame them. I wasn't telling them what I was doing, and I also wasn't sure how far this was going to go. So then I was like, okay, I have to double down again. So now I had to find a system where I needed to study and stuff too. Now, as I'm the best student on planet Earth, it was very difficult for me to study. Most of my friends, they only need to study 3 to 4 days a week in order to learn a particular concept. I need to study for like 4 to 5 weeks just to study this one thing.
Okay.
So let's say on the 1st of May, SEM exams are starting. I start on the 1st of April in order to prepare for the entire thing.
Okay.
Now, the good thing of that is I can do it very easily. 1 hour a day studying, and then I can work and stuff as well. Instead of the other people where they study consistently one entire day, joli pattula, onnum pattula. So that's the entire thing. Breaking it, balancing it, that's the most important aspect
Okay.
too.
So we were at consistency. Consistency പോലെ തന്നെ ബിസിനസ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത് നമ്മൾ ലേൺ ചെയ്യേണ്ട ഏറ്റവും ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ബിസിനസ് സ്കിൽസ് എന്തൊക്കെയായിരിക്കും?
Oh, I think communication has to be the most. I'm not saying this because I have a communication agency, but I think it is essential as a person who's doing any kind of business as well. Sales, marketing, all of these things which you will learn by time too. I've seen people that are horrible at sales, horrible at marketing, horrible at networking too. But over time, they just get better because this is something you just learn. Endu vannalam, you will learn this no matter what. But communication is a skill that people just forget about. It's something which is so sad. There was, I'm not naming him, but there was a really, really rich guy who I met at this business convention. Has an amazing business. He has systems in place, everything goes well too. And he was supposed to give a speech. And you should see him. He had this amazing watch. Okay. But then he started talking. And then he wasn't able to speak his thoughts in a way. What does that say about your brand? That entire company's face is gone now, isn't it? Of course, you have systems that work for you. You're making a lot of money as well. But if you're saying a speech, if you're talking about anything in public, and if you're not able to move people, then there's no point as well. Now, let's say that you're just a starting entrepreneur. If you can't tell your family or friends what you're doing, then there's no point. Later on in life, you want to pitch something to investors or something. You're not able to do that. There's no point in life. Now, further on, if you're successful, because the systems you placed in state, and then if you have to give a speech, you can't say something, there's no point. So all the other aspects you will learn no matter what, but communication is essential. So these are things which you just cannot go beside because there are so many leaders previously and stuff too which have done horrible things. All these, okay, I'm not saying that, things which things which people have caused just because a man had spoken. because he inspired these people through the power of words.
Yeah, understood.
You really can't
Yeah.
take those things lightly. So yes, communication is one of the most important things which you need to have. Consistency is another thing, well, and being comfortable with being uncomfortable. There are times where even if you're passionate about it, there's nothing I love more than teaching. But there are times where I just don't want to teach. That is when discipline has to come in. But most importantly, you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So these are a few things which you need to remember, because over times you start being worried about networking, about marketing, sales, and all these things. So
Yeah.
ഇതൊക്കെ മറന്നു പോകും നമ്മ.
Yeah.
Remember all these things.
Okay.
So yeah.
ഒറ്റ കാര്യം ചോദിക്കട്ടെ,
Oh.
ബിസിനസ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തതിന് ശേഷം അക്കൗണ്ട്സ് ഒരു പെയിൻ
It
ആയിരിക്കുമല്ലോ,
was.
മാത്സ്.
Yes, it was. Now, I know one thing about me. I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses. If I was looking at accounts, Brightside would be under the dirt right now. So, first thing which I got was a person that could do these accounting things for me. There was a small mistake because before I used to make way below 1 lakh a month. There wasn't a need for making this. So, it was just me taking like 20 students a month, Excel sheet, I used to write it down and things. But then I got a very, very talented man. His name is Atmaj. He came on and he showed me like what you're doing is right. Just do this one simple thing. He was a very, he still works with me. He showed me that what you do is right, but you're forgetting the main points. He just organized my thoughts really well. And because of that, we crossed the 1 lakh border, which is insane. And after that, I understood, all right, we need to get an accountant, right? Now, sadly, we don't know anything about this, isn't it? In schools and stuff, they never really show you what to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
I had no idea about taxes or something. ഈയിടക്കാണ് ഞാൻ GST തന്നെ എടുത്തത്.
Okay.
These taxes and
ഇതാണ്
stuff.
കട്ട് ചെയ്യട്ടോ GST എടുത്തത്.
Things like, so yeah, I had a really big struggle of finding about all these things too. So I was like, there's no chance. So I hired someone, and now thankfully they're doing everything in an okayish manner. But there was a lot of mistakes which I made too. Starting off, no one really tells you what a current account is. No one really tells you what the
True.
difference is and stuff. What you need to do. Karan, we only take mostly UPI payments. We take things through Razorpay and stuff as well. International payments also work and stuff too. So current accounts usually don't have UPI. So I only did it in a savings account. And then my account is like, you idiot, why would you do that? And I was like, "Arun Parnil, I'm sorry, I don't know what this is." So a lot of things like that were really problematic, which I hope will be changed a lot too. There's a friend of mine that's owning an agency where he's just teaching about tax and stuff too. I've invested in that.
Okay.
So things like that are really problematic. So yes, now accounts are going okay. There's a very lovely agency based off of Pune who's taking care of my accounts and stuff. A few loopholes and things he's finding for me. But yes, primarily like that. So yeah.
So coming back to communication, മലയാളികൾക്ക് എപ്പോഴും ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് സംസാരിക്കാൻ പേടിയാണ് എന്നുള്ളത് എല്ലാരും പറയുന്നതാണ്. ബിക്കോസ് ഗ്രാമർ തെറ്റുമോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആക്സന്റ് പ്രശ്നമാവോ. സോ ഗ്രാമർ വെർസസ് കോൺഫിഡൻസ് എന്നുള്ളൊരു കാര്യം നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ which matters the most?
Confidence, of course it does. I think I'm not the best person to ask about how Malayalis speak because most of my clientele are not in Kerala. Only one or two people are not, like 1% only are from Kerala itself. Because my content mostly is seen through North India or the middle part of India too. So അങ്ങനെയാണ്. Compared to them, Malayali speak English much better. കാരണം നമ്മ കാണുന്ന movies എല്ലാം mostly we see English, particularly the reels we see, the shorts we use, the YouTube videos we watch. Mostly we are more connected to English and stuff too. But to answer your question, when it comes to confidence or grammar, it is confidence. Now, in this video itself, I made a lot of mistakes when I was speaking, grammatically, right? My teachers which are watching this, they'll be writing, Jonah, you said this, so that they can in the next meeting and stuff. But yeah, when it comes to making mistakes, the problem is when you're afraid of making mistakes, then that becomes the entire topic of your mind. തെറ്റ് മാത്രം മനസ്സിലുണ്ടാവുള്ളൂ. So then you'll naturally move on to focusing on those mistakes and then you'll screw up. Instead, when you make a mistake, treating it as just a mistake and then moving on with what you're saying, that's what's really important. So what we communicate with our students is that when you talk, we're not going to sit down and teach you all these basic grammar rules because you don't need that. We don't necessarily teach children. Most of our students are professionals who need help with professional English and overall communication. They know English, they know the basic grammar rules. But the problem is when they make a mistake, they freeze up. We teach them how you can overcome that.
Okay.
We primarily are straying away from teaching English now. We're mostly teaching communication and how you can use that to progress in your career and stuff too. But yes, ഒരു grammar mistake ഉണ്ടാവുമ്പോൾ ആ പേടി മാറ്റാനുള്ള രീതികളാണ് നമ്മൾ മിക്കവാറും പഠിപ്പിക്കാറുള്ളത്. But just for you guys that are watching, firstly, talk slower. When you talk fast, your brain has to talk much more quickly, and now if you make a mistake, you get stuck more. Instead, if you talk slower, you can think much more quicker, your brain is much more relaxed, and you make mistakes much more less. It's just common. Whenever you talk, when you make a mistake, you can just come back much more easier too. Whereas if you talk faster, ഒരു തെറ്റ് പറ്റിയാൽ പെട്ടെന്ന് notice ചെയ്യും. But when you talk slower, when you make a mistake, you don't notice that at all. So these simple tips and stuff, these are the things when I teach people, they're like, oh, those are the like value points which I teach. So yeah, grammar mistakes, it doesn't matter. We primarily don't teach basic grammar. We teach you how you can use the knowledge you have and use that for your life. You're not going to be professors at English. You need to know English so that you can use it for your needs. That's primarily.
But vocabulary important alle.
It depends what you look for. I had a habit of saying basically a lot. Whenever I said something, I say basically this. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to know a lot of vocabulary words. An example I have, when Donald Trump was competing Hillary Clinton for the presidential debate and stuff. In USA, what they do, they have these debates. They compete with each other. One thing which was really interesting to me is the main reason why Hillary Clinton lost was because the words which she used was of a 12th standard student. What she was using was really difficult, hard to understand economical terms, all these things, right?
Okay.
Makes a person seem more smart, makes a person seem more amazing to be a president. Donald Trump was using 4th grade English. He was using words that were really simple, very easy to understand, which made people understand him more. Sure, he looks like an idiot, but you can understand the idiot, which made whatever he was saying very easy to understand, which made people vote for him, which made him win. So the thing about vocabulary is that either you want to look super smart, which we don't accept, because some people in your podcast or in a few speeches, you can see that they try talking in a very scrumptious, valuable way where the main idea of communication is to make other people understand you. If you're looking to find words that make you sound smart, then we are not the institution for you. We teach you those type of vocabulary words which allow you to not repeat them a lot, which we show you that whenever you use them, people will listen to you. And you don't use basic level vocabulary too. That's what we teach.
Okay.
Vocabulary is very important. For people like you need to know vocabulary because you're interviewing people. And another thing, make sure that you understand words. Ubekanda കാര്യമില്ല, പക്ഷേ whenever someone is using those words, make sure you understand. So that is the level you need. You don't need to learn a lot of different words and stuff too. But for those watching, a simple exercise which you can use to improve your vocabulary is, if you're a person that read some books and you try to find 3 or 4 words and create 5 sentences from it. Mostly other institutions which I've surveyed, they teach English like they teach maths. They show these formulas. They show these things where you need to do this in order to do that. And then you put this word plus this word, you get this great word. Why are you confusing these people? It's a language. You don't have to do it like that. Instead, what I teach is that when you learn a new vocabulary word, let's say the word is scrumptious, something delicious, right? Create 5 sentences from your own mind from that. Instead, other teachers say that, okay, scrumptious, you can use it like this, use it like that. Don't do that. Use that word in your own manner, and then you'll actually learn how to do it as well. 30 seconds, you've learned a new word. So that's how vocabulary works, I guess.
Nice. So, Jonah, while scaling up, Jonah പോലെ തന്നെ ക്വാളിറ്റി ഉള്ള ടീച്ചേഴ്സിനെ ഹയർ ചെയ്യേണ്ട ഒരു സെനറിയോ വരുമല്ലോ. How do you ensure that, all your tutors are really amazing?
Yes, that was the most difficult aspect. Not difficult, I can't say it's difficult. It was the most challenging one too. Within 3 years, I've interviewed 767 teachers. I've only hired 63. So there stands a quality in perhaps too. I've rejected people that I've taught in Britain. I've rejected people that taught in the USA. People whose accents are much better than mine, who pronounce words much more better. But there's something in them which doesn't work with Brightside. Something in them which won't work when you work with us and stuff too. One thing when I hire is that what I look in you isn't your qualities as a teacher. The first 40 teachers that I hired, I taught them how to teach. Nowadays, I'm having really qualified people, which I'm really grateful for. But the thing what makes me hire you is your attitude towards teaching.
Okay.
The main reason I've succeeded is because teaching was never a job for me. Teaching was a passion. And money wasn't the incentive. The process of teaching was the incentive for me to be so successful as a teacher. Only those type of people I hire. People who ask the first question as what the students are. what do I have to teach? Those people are good. People that ask what the salary is going to be, what the time flexibility is going to be, they're not going to be my first priority. So whenever I filter out these teachers, I put out a form on LinkedIn or ask my teachers and stuff too. And then the form is very simple. They'll be like, tell me about yourself. What can you teach in English confidently? Why do you want to teach English? The very basic stuff too. The real work starts in the interview. Interview varumbo, whenever I ask them a question, I notice how the passionate things are. So one teacher, which let's just say one teacher at Brightside English, a few questions which I asked, she answered very well. My hobbies, my this, all the basic interview questions, all night uttaram paranju.
Yeah.
But then when I asked her, like, let's say that there's a student, he is very nervous talking to girls. He wants to have a relationship. He's very good at speaking English. But then when he wants to communicate to women per se, there's a bit of a problem. How would you handle that? I asked the teacher. What I notice is how they're listening to the question. This one teacher that I'm stating about, she started smiling. And then she started like getting a little bit more fidgety, meaning she's excited. And then she gave an amazing answer to that too. That's when I knew, yep, you're hired instantly. No more questions asked, nothing else, instant hire. I sent her the recruitment letter and stuff too. So I ask these questions to note how passionate you are at teaching.
Yeah.
I make sure that whenever you're answering these questions, there's that jil in you, that there's this electricity in you, just like how I had. So that's what I used to hire too. And another thing which I know, we all know the state how India is right now. ജോലി കിട്ടാൻ ഭയങ്കര ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടല്ലേ ഇപ്പോ? So I give first priority to freshers. Whenever they join, I give people that are either studying or just passed out of college to work over here.
Okay.
Other experienced people, I give them second priority because I want to give these people a jump start.
Yeah. So follow up ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ചോദിക്കട്ടെ.
Yes.
നമ്മൾ വെബ്സൈറ്റ് നോക്കുകയാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിലും സോഷ്യൽ മീഡിയ ആണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിലും ബ്രൈറ്റ് സൈഡിന്റെ ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് എല്ലാ ഇടത്തും ജോനയുടെ ഫേസ് ആണ്. അപ്പോ ജോന സംസാരിക്കുന്ന ആ ഒരു ക്വാളിറ്റി, ആ ഒരു സ്റ്റൈൽ എക്സ്പെക്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടായിരിക്കില്ലേ കൂടുതലും ആളുകൾ ഇതിൽ വരുന്നുണ്ടാവുക.
Yes.
പിന്നെ ഇതിലെത്തിയിട്ട് അവര് ദേ ആർ റീഡയറക്റ്റഡ് ടു ആ ട്യൂട്ടർ. ആ ട്യൂട്ടറിനെ നോക്കുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഞാൻ ട്യൂട്ടേഴ്സിന്റെ ലിസ്റ്റ് നോക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. എവ്രി വൺ ആർ ലൈക്ക് ടീൻസ് ആണ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഏർലി 20s ആളുകളാണ്.
Exactly.
സോ നോർത്തിലേക്കുള്ള ഈ സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് എത്ര അക്സെപ്റ്റബിൾ ആണ് for?
Not very much, actually. In the beginning, there was a big problem in communication, which was our fault, where they expected to come over here and be taught by me. But then we changed that and then we showed these tutors also. That's why I made them make content too, because these are also the teachers. But then after a while, they were like, Aditya class tanne, it's an introductory session. Padipikkan thonangula Aditya lesson. You need to build a relationship with them. So some students think that they're not so professional. Why is it so casual? And then I tell them like, you're building a relationship first. You can't learn from a person that's a stranger. You need to know that this person is trustable to you. Making sure that this person you are comfortable with, because this is the internet. Making sure that they're not weirdos or something is also very important. After the first lesson, then you need to give another try again, because most people are like that. Karanam, they expect ആദ്യത്തെ lesson തന്നെ പഠിപ്പിക്കാം. That's not what we do. We're not teaching maths, we're not teaching formulas. We're teaching you to improve through conversations just like this, where at the end of the lesson, you don't realize what we've taught you. But the next lesson, you just become more improved, just like that. So the problem was communicating that to the audience and stuff too.
Okay.
The big problem is that these things have to happen in phases, right? പക്ഷെ ഒരു ദിവസം എഴുന്നേൽക്കുമ്പോൾ you're grown by 100,000 followers എന്ന് നോക്കുമ്പോൾ how can I communicate? They come seeing all of these old content. So making sure that I find the correct times to constantly remind these new followers of mine that this is what we do, we're not what you expect. That is a little bit of a challenge, which I think will always be a challenge and stuff too. But we're building a system currently and thankfully it's going pretty well too. But yes, now no one is expecting for me to take these lessons. So what I did is that sometimes I host webinars or I create these pre-recorded courses. And that's also something which I can do on another side too. And then mostly now I give corporate trainings for communications and stuff as well. And companies reach out to us and then say, I'd like Jonah to present and things. So I go there with a teacher of mine and do those type of stuff too. But a long while ago, people were expecting to be taught just by me. And that's when I said like, okay, I'll give you a webinar. 40, 50 people came. Now there's 100, 200 people that come. So if they want, I'll teach once or twice a month. And then others, they just go to the teachers themselves. So yeah, the thing is, after a person joins our course, they have no complaints. Adinu mumbey oru prashnaanu.
Okay.
So that's what we're still actively trying to work on. Once we fix it for a group of people, another 100,000 people join. So it's just like, yeah, we need to work on that, isn't it? So yes, that's what we're going for.
ജോണിനെ ഇൻസ്പയർ ചെയ്യുന്ന അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു റോൾ മോഡലൊക്കെ കാണുന്ന ഒരു
Mm.
പേഴ്സൺ എന്നൊക്കെ ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആരായിരിക്കും? ഇൻ
Well,
ബിസിനസ് ഓർ
I think genuinely what I need to say, the first inspiration that I had were my parents, honestly, because my father, he had to drop out of college to go to Kuwait first, since he really just worked his way up. Now he's working as a country IT manager in Oman itself. He had to sacrifice a lot to give us the life which we have, which is amazing, which was every father should have. My mother as well. She was a person that really enjoyed working. But after she gave birth to me and my sister, she was like, I'm going to sacrifice my work to take care of these children. So things like that really inspired me as well, because I've seen my father's friends, my mother's friends who have not done anything and their children are doing horrible stuff and stuff like that. But Angana Ganamba, they have always been the biggest inspiration which I've had, because it's not so that don't waste the life that they have created for you. That's the biggest thing which I need to inspire and stuff too. But honestly speaking, I can sit here and say that Elon Musk, all of these things are amazing inspirations. But honestly, in the first year of college, I was just doing freelancing. Brightside had just started out. It was just an idea by then. I wasn't sure if I should grow it. So I was sitting in this hall, and then first year ആണല്ലോ, സോ എല്ലാവരും കണ്ട് പരിചയമുണ്ട്, പക്ഷേ ആൾക്കാർ എല്ലാവരോടും സംസാരിച്ചിട്ടില്ല. So there was this one guy who's 1 year younger than me. He was also in Abu Dhabi, and then he sat next to me and we were just having a conversation, and he was like, dude, you know how NRI fathers are, right? Sindhonam, they need a car and stuff. His dad lost his job or something and they came back or so. And then he said like, yeah, maybe I'll buy a bike next week or so. And then, you mean your dad will buy you a bike, right? He says, no, I'll buy my own bike. I'm like, what do you mean you'll buy your own bike? And it's like, oh, I have this one small agency and stuff and
Okay.
things too. He's a very private person. I'm not going to say his name. Okay. I know he's watching. So then he was like, I do this, I do that. So then I found to understand this guy, you've seen this, 100% sure you've seen his page. 4 million subscribers on YouTube. He has 3 million followers on Instagram. And he sold that for 6 to 8 crores, his company. At 18. Either I was like, oh, now I need to double down again. Because usually we always see successful people and stuff, right? In USA and stuff. But when you see a person that's just like you, who is a Malayali, who's in your class, Angana Kanamba, then what do you feel? If he can do this, why can't I?
Yeah.
So he is honestly a person that really pushed me a lot. Honestly, he held my hand through a lot of the growth phases of Brightside as well. And thankfully now he's a very, very close friend of mine too. But yes, he was the first real inspiration that I've had. And then guests from your podcast too, who I've had the luck of meeting and stuff as well. These people who I'm like, they've gone through so much horrible things in their life, right?
Yeah.
I haven't had anything of them, and yet I'm not doing what I can. So that's what really inspires me too. Whenever I see a person who's really struggling and they're still trying their best and I'm having a comfortable life, why should I not struggle? I should be the person who's pushing myself too. So yeah, every day I see inspiration in the person that's begging on the street. Every day I see inspiration on a person that's the richest of the rich. So that's primarily who I seek inspiration from. So yeah, that's how. So
സോ ജോണ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഇപ്പോൾ 2 ഇയേഴ്സിന് അടുത്തായിട്ടുള്ളൂ ബ്രൈറ്റ് സൈഡ്.
mhm.
ഈ ഒരു ചുരുങ്ങിയ കാലം കൊണ്ട് ലേൺ ചെയ്ത ഒരു മോസ്റ്റ് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് ലെസൺ എന്തായിരിക്കും?
I think that the biggest lesson which I learned would be, if you're in a leadership position of any case or so, doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a CEO. Maybe you could just be a manager. Maybe you're just leading 2 or 3 people. The most important thing, not just as a boss, but as a human being, is just how important compassion is. Recently, I had an interview where they asked me what's the most important quality as a leader. They were expecting me to say communication skills, leadership, and then pitch that off to promoting my brand or so. But then I said compassion, and they were like, what is this idiot saying compassion? The thing is, the main reason why my company, I think, has grown super fast is because the way how I treat my employees is not the way how they have been treated before. Whenever they make a mistake, seeing them as a human being first is so important, because when you treat them as an employee and then you scold them or so, then you're just a boss to them. They're just an employee to you. And now it's just a basic organization or corporation. But when you treat them with saying, I understand, things happen, putting them first, the happiness that they feel, you'll create a cult like following in your organization, where once they tell their friends I'm working here, they'll crave working under you. Things like these are just so important when you're a leader or something. So one thing which I've understood, apart from discipline, apart from consistency, is that no matter what happens, being compassionate is essential. It doesn't matter how bad they screwed up, but making sure you see them as people and not as a cog in a machine, that's very, very important. That's what I think has made all these people stick with me. Advika, the first teacher, she's still with me. There have been times where my teachers haven't been paid properly. There have been times where I haven't been able to provide consistent students. COVID samay okay, there was a big problem and stuff. But all of these times, none of them questioned me. None of them were like, I need to leave. I need to do this. The only reason people leave is because sometimes students can be a bit brash or so, time constraints and things. But making sure that you're compassionate can really take you a long way. So I'm like, all right, I'll stick to being a nice human instead of just a boss. So yeah, that's what.
ഏത് ഇൻഡസ്ട്രിയിലും നിൽക്കുമ്പോഴും നമ്മുടേതായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു പേഴ്സണൽ ഡെവലപ്മെന്റ് ഭയങ്കര ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആണ്.
Oh,
സോ എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് അപ്പാർട്ട് ഫ്രം വർക്ക് പേഴ്സണൽ സ്കിൽസ് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യാനൊക്കെ ജോന ചെയ്യാറ്?
I guess making sure that you're obviously physically fit is the one most important thing. And then always trying to do one extra thing on the side. Like, for example, I've always been interested in pianos and guitars and things. Today, hopefully, I'll buy my first guitar.
Okay.
So things like those are always important because no matter what happens, you can't just work. If you're doing, no matter what business it is, endu vannalum, if that is 100% of your life, you will burn out much more quicker too. So making sure that you have something on the side to shift your entire focus on, that is really important. For me in the beginning, it was boxing. Now through that, I've gone to a lot of competitions. I've gotten state fourth and stuff. Now because of that, it gives me another thing to shift my focus on. No matter what, you should, as an entrepreneur, you always have to be focused. But being focused on just one thing can burn you out very easily. So instead, trying to shift your focus to a few different things that you can find enjoyment in is really important. So I've always tried to invest time in sports. I've always tried to look into books and stuff too. And then charity is also something I really enjoy. And then doing stuff recently now is much more easier because now college is also finished. And now traveling is something which I have to do. So stuff like that. Those are the type of personal skills which I think everyone should look into. But no matter what, do a sport. I don't care what sport it is, just do a sport and do it consistently. It teaches you so many things that not even business can teach you too. It prepares you for a lot of the challenges that business does as well, especially combat sport in that case too, because for example, boxing isn't like anything others because the effort you put in has to be 10 times more than anything else, physically and stuff too. And all of that, you need to train for like 12 to 13 hours a week for just a 3-minute round. And then you lose that round, that's ages of hard work just gone, right? But the next day you still come to the gym. What other sport teaches you that? These are the things which you need in business.
Yeah.
You fail miserably, but the next day you still show up. Those are things which you really need. So out of all the personal skills, sports are an essential. That's what I would
Okay.
suggest. So yeah.
നമ്മൾ സ്കൂൾ ടൈം മുതൽ കേൾക്കുന്നതാണ് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ന്യൂസ് പേപ്പർ റീഡ് ചെയ്യുക അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ബുക്സ് റീഡ് ചെയ്യുക. ഇതൊക്കെയാണ് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ലാംഗ്വേജ് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള വേസ്. ശരിക്കും ഇഫക്റ്റീവ് വേ പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ എന്തായിരിക്കും?
Okay, so when it comes to effective ways, let me switch to teacher board now. Business in നിന്ന്. So എന്ത് വന്നാലും പണ്ട് ഞാൻ എന്ത് പറയണതും, especially for Malayalis, you don't need another private tutor to teach you unless you're that bad at speaking. ചിലവര് they learn English better when they converse. That's the golden rule of English. If you speak English daily, then that's just how you'll do. So in college, there's this one guy who I used to sit with. I naturally like to talk in English itself. So അവൻ എൻ്റെ ഒപ്പം ഇരുന്നപ്പോൾ ഇവനും അടിപൊളിയായിട്ട് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് സംസാരിക്കാൻ തുടങ്ങിയിട്ടുണ്ട് ഇപ്പോൾ. And he hasn't practiced nothing, just daily, whenever he sat with me, he just spoke English. So one thing, if you want to improve, just force yourself to talk in English to anybody. It's not going to be comfortable because it'll be a bit awkward. Malayalam സംസാരിക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാരോടും English സംസാരിക്കുമ്പോൾ it's going to be a bit awkward. But if you just set a little bit of time apart and then you actually practice, you'll be surprised at how great you can speak English too. A few other simple exercises that you can use is this one thing called shadowing. This is a very effective exercise too, where basically ചിലവര് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് പഠിക്കണം എന്താ ആക്സെന്റ് ശരിയാക്കണം, പ്രൊനൗൺസിയേഷൻ ശരിയാക്കണം, വൊക്കാബുലറി വേർഡ്സ് സംസാരിക്കണം, അങ്ങനെ എന്തൊക്കെ ചെയ്യണം. So if you want to digress all of those things individually, it'll take a long time and stuff too. Now, one method we use at Brightside English is called shadowing, where you pick a celebrity who speaks English very well. Let's say Shah Rukh Khan, Priyanka Chopra, whoever it is, and you look at a TED talk or a speech that they say in English. The next thing that you do is that you listen to 10 seconds of them speaking, pause, and you repeat what they said exactly like how they say it. The same tone, same accent, the same words, everything. You repeat them exactly like that. What you're doing in this phase is not only are you building the habit of the pace in which how they speak,
Mm.
but you're also using the words that they use,
Mm.
and you're also most importantly mastering the voice modulation as well.
Mm.
ചിലവർക്ക് ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ മിസ്റ്റേക്ക് എന്താ പറ്റുന്നത് വെച്ചാൽ അവർ സംസാരിക്കുന്നത് ഒരേ ടോണിൽ തന്നെ ആയിരിക്കും. സന്തോഷമായാലും സങ്കടമായാലും ഇങ്ങനെ തന്നെ സംസാരിക്കുള്ളൂ എന്ത് വന്നാലും. But using that tone is really important because that's how you invoke emotion and stuff too. So yes, there's this other method called shadowing, and then all the basic exercises, which even though they are basic, people think it doesn't work. But these are the most important things. Reading a lot of books, and then if you want to take it one step further, read it aloud. Because the main problem is people don't speak a lot. If you don't have someone to speak to, just read it aloud. And then another thing is what I like to call is the news reporter, where you read an article or you watch something and then you summarize it and then you present it like an actual news reporter. So instead of just talking, you should say, all right, so the article that I read was about global climate change. Making sure that, so angane present cheyumba, you also learn presentation and stuff too. And the good thing about this is you can practice alone. So naanu undavula. So these are the exercises we suggest after the lesson finishes in our class, because in the first lesson തന്നെ ഇത് പറയും ചെയ്യാൻ പറയുമ്പോൾ they'll feel a bit awkward, no? പിന്നെ അവസാനം ഒരു 10 lessons ഒക്കെ കഴിയുമ്പോൾ they'll feel very comfortable, and then you can start practicing these two. So yeah, these are all you need, and it doesn't take a lot of time.
എപ്പോഴും പറയുന്ന ഒരു കാര്യമില്ല, തിങ്ക് ഇൻ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ്.
Oh yeah.
നമ്മൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കുന്ന ലൈക്ക് മലയാളത്തിൽ നമ്മൾ തിങ്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നത്,
Yes,
തിങ്ക് ഇൻ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ്.
very important. Oh my god, it is so important. Only if you think in English, you can start speaking in English too. കാരണം നമ്മൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയുമ്പോൾ നല്ല ഗുമ്മുണ്ട് അല്ലേ? എനിക്ക് എന്തെങ്കിലും പോയിന്റ് ഞാൻ മലയാളത്തിൽ മാത്രം പറയാറുള്ളൂ. But the thing is, some things, some slangs, some words, some phrases that exist in Malayalam, Hindi, Tamil, whatever language you know, they don't exist in English. So നമ്മൾ ചിന്തിക്കുന്നത് ഒരു കാര്യം പറയാനുണ്ടാവും, പക്ഷെ പറഞ്ഞു വരുമ്പോൾ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് അത് ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. So you need to build a habit of thinking in English. Now, how you can do this is there's the long method where you force yourself to think in English, or you can do these few cues where you manipulate your brain to start thinking in English too. Now, say for example, you wash dishes. പാത്രം കഴുകുന്ന സമയത്ത് എന്താ ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ പുറത്ത് ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ പറയാം. Okay, I'm washing the dishes slowly, taking the salt, putting it back into the place. Now I'm going to do this, do that. Because these are usually things you think about. പാത്രം കഴുകുന്ന സമയത്ത് okay, കാർ കഴുകണം ഇത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് എങ്ങനെ ചിന്തിക്കും? So instead, you say that out loud. Okay, I need to wash the car as well. So now you're basically forcing your brain to start thinking in English as well by saying it out loud. And then before you know it, you're actually thinking that the same thing in English too.
Okay.
Now this, I know it works in just around 1 week if you do it as much as possible, because I have results. It works in just 1 week. So if you want to think in English, just start talking in English alone, because don't do it when there's others. You don't want people to think you're crazy talking alone to yourself. So yeah, doing this can really, really help. So yeah.
ജോന ഇനീഷ്യലി പറഞ്ഞില്ലേ മൂവീസ് ആണ് ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്തത്. മൂവീസിനെ എഫക്റ്റീവ് ആയിട്ട് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുക എങ്ങനെയാണ് ലാംഗ്വേജ് സ്കിൽ?
Understood. So first of all, you need to like watching movies. If you do an exercise that feels like an exercise to you, stop it. We don't give people homework. We give people fun activities to do at Brightside English, right? Karnam, if we ask you to do homework, it's homework. Who wants to do homework?
Nobody.
So instead, if it's a student that likes reading articles, we give him articles only. Now, in case you're a student that likes watching movies, that's the only exercise you will have. There are a lot of tons of different exercises that you can use movies in order to improve English. The first one is something which I used to practice in Muscat when I was there too. There was this movie called Ice Age 3, where you watch that and I knew every dialogue by heart because I watched our movie matram undayannalla kaadan. So I watched that movie again and again and again and again, and somehow one thing which I learned is my accent started getting better too. Now, another thing which you can do as well, something simple for beginners and things too, force yourself to watch it without subtitles. കാരണം usually when you watch a movie, നമ്മുടെ കണ്ണ് automatically subtitles മാത്രം പോവാറുള്ളത്. So instead, you're using your eyes instead of your ears to learn English or watch the movie. So now when you force it, you're forcing your ears to listen instead. So when you do that, your brain is much more quicker to learn about these words, how to use them and stuff too. So that's another exercise and stuff as well. Now, other things are you use the shadowing technique, watch a movie, pause it and stuff too. You summarize the movie. We've seen movie reviews and stuff too, right? So just do own movie review of yourself too. And then another thing is where you summarize the movie and then you start asking questions about why this happened. And then there was one movie, Asif Simile. കിഷ്കിന്ദകാന്തം ഒരു എനിക്കൊരു വൃത്തിയായിട്ട ഹാബിറ്റ് ആണ്. സിനിമ കാണാൻ പറ്റൂല. മൂവിയുടെ അവസാനം when they were showing what's going to happen and stuff, what I started thinking was, what would I do? What would I do in this case too? So whatever movie you're watching, there may be a protagonist who's going to do something. Maybe pause the movie or start asking yourself what I would do. and then act as if there's an interviewer asking you what you're going to do in this case too. Mostly role play. The more role play you do, the more easier you would do as well. So that's another very good exercise. You can use movies and stuff too.
Okay.
So yeah.
ഓക്കെ സോ ഓവറോൾ ഇപ്പോൾ ജോന 2 years ആയെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ എനിക്ക് മുന്നോട്ട് പോകുന്ന സമയത്ത് ഈ ഒരു ഫീൽഡിൽ തന്നെ ഒരുപാട് കോമ്പറ്റീഷൻസ് ഓൾറെഡി ഉണ്ടല്ലോ ഇപ്പോൾ വേൾഡ് വൈഡ് നോക്കുകയാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ കുറേ ആപ്സ് ഈ ഒരു ഫീൽഡിലുണ്ട് ഡുവലിംഗോ പോലുള്ള അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പ്രൊമേറ പോലുള്ള ഈ ആക്സെന്റ് പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നത് സോ ഹൗ ആർ യു കീപ്പിംഗ് അപ്പ് വിത്ത് ദ കോമ്പറ്റീഷൻ പുതിയ അപ്പം അതിനനുസരിച്ച് നമ്മൾ ട്യൂട്ടേഴ്സിനെയും ട്രെയിൻ ചെയ്ത് കൊണ്ടുവരേണ്ടി വരുമല്ലോ
Indeed, yes. Those are obvious things. Making sure that your tutors are up to date with every single technological advancement that's going on, that's very important. But I'm not sure why. I've never seen any of my competitors as competitors per se. I'm not sure if my philosophy speaking or anything, because whenever I've met a few other very major English institution owners and stuff through various award functions, and I've always been naturally like happy to talk to them. അവർക്കൊരു ഇത് തോന്നും like എന്ത് പറയണ അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ഒരു ഇതുണ്ടാവും. But I always be like, it's so great that you're doing, because my main goal is to change the way how India communicates. There are a lot of memes on how Indian accents and the overall quality of that Indians are very low, right? That's what I want to change, because when I came back to India, what I understood is whenever I went to a restaurant, whenever I went to a cafe, or so you guys know too, when you speak in English, you're treated very, very different. And that's not good, of course, because I'm not the smartest guy. Just because I'm able to communicate better, I'm getting all of these provisions and stuff too. I want to change that. Now, I don't have the resources to change the society as of now. But what I can do is teach people how they can speak like that, so all opportunities become open for them. That's the mission for Brightside English overall as well. So using that, how can I see anyone else's competitors? കാരണം അവരും പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നത് എന്നെ തന്നെയല്ലേ. They're also teaching people. They are working for my goal as well. Maybe they're not doing it from my company. Now that doesn't matter. Now I'm not sure if that makes me a bad businessman or whatever, but you are allowing me and our students to communicate better. You're not my competitor too. Now that's a teacher aspect, not from a business perspective. I consistently analyze them. I make sure that whatever mistakes that they're doing, I don't consist to. I have a lot of non-ethical ways of doing that too, which I can't say. But you can't really understand these other institutions unless you work as an employee, and you work as a student, and you work as top-level management too. So I've broken down all of them. I've met each staff and stuff too, and really done surveys of these things as well. And as of now, the only competitor that I have is time. It's only been 2 years. I'm a bit too early for this, isn't it? The thing is, most of these agencies are so late, big players in the game. They're not doing anything different than we are. Oppositely, we are the ones that are innovating now, isn't it? They're the ones that are old per se. The only advantage that they have over me is that they got a head start. I wasn't born by then. That's the only thing. So I think the only way that I can make sure that this company grows is just don't stop. That's the only thing. Because I don't think that other competitors are going to come up, because my team, which I've created, they are the most passionate, they are the most dedicated people that I've seen. People that show up not because it's their job, but show up because they love doing it. What's the limit for those type of people? So through this, I don't think there's ever going to be a chance where I'm going to have to worry about a competitor. But just to answer, so that if there's anyone looking forward, I've invested my time into a field where no one else was, which is content. No one else in India, maybe the world, that's maybe a push, does content like we do. But probably the most followed in India as well. Now, no one else does that, isn't it? A lot of people do a lot of educational stuff. I stopped that, switched to entertainment. Now, I created an entire niche where people react to celebrities and correct their English. Good. Now I'm moving on to something else. Now, once that becomes die down, I'll move on to something else too. So investing time in places where other people aren't there, that's the key too, in order to stay ahead of your competitors. And it's very easy to look at what they're doing, just don't do that. That's primarily it.
സോ കോമൺ ആയിട്ട് നമ്മളുടെ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് സ്പീക്കിംഗ് അക്കാഡമീസ് നോക്കുകയാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ പലരും ഇതേപോലെ എന്താ പറയുക ബിഗിനേഴ്സിന് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് പഠിപ്പിക്കുക വാട്സ്ആപ്പ് ത്രൂ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് പഠിപ്പിക്കുക അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെയാണ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. ആൻഡ് നൗ ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് ഓൾ ഓഫ് ദം ആർ മൂവിങ് ടു ടീച്ചിങ് ആക്സൻസ്. സോ are you guys planning to do that, or
No.
is it
No chance, no. I hate people that come to me and say, I want to improve my accent. It's something that I'm a really strong agitated against, because people have this wrong idea, because if you have an American accent, people think that you can talk much better, and that's not the case. The way how you speak is what's important. Now, I can really heavy my accent and talk like this too, but if I'm talking in a very proper manner, then people will listen. Or I can talk in a very British accent and people will still listen to me. These are things which you need to understand. Accent is not the main thing. The words which you pronounce, the way how you speak, the vocabulary word maybe, and the grammar. That's it. കുറേ ആൾക്കാർ വന്ന് ചോദിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്, you need to train my company, I'll pay you huge amounts for accent training. Sorry, dude, I don't believe in that. I'm not going to do that stuff too. I really hate people, because Indians are usually claimed for their accent, right? Always made fun of their accent. And I'm never going to change their accent too. That's what defines us, isn't it? The way how a person in Nepal speaks won't be the way how a Malayali speaks. Matan paadilada. That is who you are. Then why not just copy paste your entire personality? Then who are you then? Keep your accent, keep whatever slangs you have. I'll just teach you how you can incorporate all these other communication things so that you can succeed as you, not as an American person, not as a British person. So yeah. But sometimes people mispronounce words, which causes your accent to slip up. That we fix. Some people can't pronounce a few words, right? I hope we can do an activity about that. So other accent depending. Some people say genre, genre. So that is a problem, right? Some people can't say long words together. So that's when it becomes an issue. But that's not an accent, just a pronunciation issue. So yeah, accents doesn't matter. Not at all.
So talking about technological advancements, AI വരുന്ന സമയത്ത് AI ഏജൻസ് ഒക്കെ ഇനി മുന്നോട്ടേക്ക് പല രീതിയിൽ ഈ ഒരു ഫീൽഡിലേക്കൊക്കെ എത്താൻ സാധ്യതയുണ്ടല്ലോ. ഹെർ മൂവി കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവും.
Yes, I have.
അതേപോലെ ഒരു 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 ട്യൂട്ടറൊക്കെ വരികയാണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ that'll be a competition for you, right?
Not at all, no. I actually hope that there can actually be an AI agent, just so that I can prove that it's never going to work. I have personally paid for every single AI teacher out there, and I have paid my students to take lessons with them. And it's honestly the worst thing I've ever seen. It's pathetic. It makes me embarrassed to call myself a teacher, because these AI agents are calling themselves teachers too. One thing that they're good at is listening to you, and they're good at giving you advice. But that's about it. That's it. There's nothing else that you learn there. When you learn a language, conversations are important. But most so importantly, the speed in which how you learn really depend on relations which you have with the tutor as well. We only provide you 20 lessons. Within 20 lessons, you're set. That's what Brightside English is about. There are so many other institutions that really make it systematic, which they provide 40 lessons or so whenever, which is very great. But these AI chatbots, they go for a long lesson. A few things which I can't name. They provided unlimited lifetime access, and എപ്പോൾ വേണമെങ്കിലും പഠിക്കാം, എത്ര വേണമെങ്കിലും പഠിക്കാം and stuff. So എന്തിനാ പഠിക്കണത്? നാളെ പഠിക്കാലോ. When there's no deadline, there's no incentive for you to work.
True.
Right? Yeah. When there's no reason for you to create a relationship with them, there's no reason for you to work. Would you feel comfortable telling your problems to a robot? I know I wouldn't. But I would feel comfortable telling my problems to a person that has struggled the same things too. So in other aspects, AI is perfect. My accounting department uses AI. There are a lot of other people that use AI for mine too. We use AI to find materials. We use AI to find out what problems other people have. But teaching? No. We're never going to use that too.
ഇപ്പം ജോന് തന്നെ ഒരുപാട് പേരെ ട്രെയിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പം അതല്ലാതെ ഒരുപാട് സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. ബ്രൈറ്റ് സൈഡ് ശരിക്കും ലൈഫ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കരിയർ ഇമ്പാക്ട് ചെയ്ത് ഒരു ചേഞ്ച് ഉണ്ടാക്കിയ ഒരു സ്റ്റുഡന്റിനെ പറയാൻ പറഞ്ഞ ഓർമ്മ?
My God, what do you want? Relationship, career, or what else?
Anything. Like first ഓർമ്മ വരുന്ന ഒരു സ്റ്റുഡന്റിനെ പറ്റി പറയാം.
Okay. So when I had 3 students, 3 teachers, there's this teacher called Rexy. Pretty cool name, no? So this person called Rexy had a student that the student had been in a relationship with this now wife of his for 6 years. Okay. Now he wanted to propose to her. The wife was an English literature student in some college, and she was a sucker for like long passages and writings and deep poems and stuff. This guy is the exact opposite. So they used to have a lot of problems with each other, whereas he wants to express his love to them, but the wife wasn't able to understand. Their love language is different, right? So there was a very big gap there, and he was worried about losing her. So this problem, the teacher had to work a lot, because this is a very personal thing. You don't really tell these things to people, right? Now tell me an AI chatbot that would do that. Yeah, exactly. So after this, in a while, we understood that, all right, the problem is not communication. This dude speaks very well. We needed to create a plan which allows him to express his love for her
Mm.
in a language that makes her understand. So she's more dreamy. This guy's more realistic.
Mm.
She's more filmy and more lovely and stuff.
Mm.
This guy's more direct and things.
Mm.
So in order to mash him into this case, we had to work a little bit. It was a very fun project. I remember being in this case too. Kanam, it was just the beginning. No, I needed to be there. And then he went to Bali with her, and then he wrote this amazing poem.
Mm.
He posed to her, and now he said that my child is being baptized next week or so.
Mm.
I need you to come and stuff. I'm like, oh, sure, sure. He's in Singapore.
Okay.
So yeah, that was a really nice story. Now, those are things which connect, right?
Yeah.
Then there were stories about careers. Obviously, there were people, elderly people. I remember this one person who was not managing director, I think COO or someone, and it was an accounting firm. You know the slangs and words which they use in accounting.
Yeah.
It is terribly difficult. Now, thankfully, I mean, not thankfully, this was the moment where I had my SEM exams and I was posting 2 days, and then there was a lot of problems in the business and things. And thankfully, the teachers which I hired were pakka. They only came and asked me for my opinions and they left immediately. So this dude, his name was Pranesh. He was Pranesh from Chennai. He had a very big problem of hesitating while speaking. You should have seen him. This guy was super smart. He was like very well dressed, very well pronounced and everything. പക്ഷേ പുള്ളിക്കാരൻ ഒരാളുടെ മുമ്പിൽ സംസാരിക്കുമ്പോൾ പെട്ടെന്ന് ഹെസിറ്റേറ്റ് ആവും. എൻ്റെ തലയിൽ പക്ഷെ പറയാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല. Now, we gave him these few things, and then within the second lesson itself, he gave his first successful meeting. Meetings undighted, but then this was the first time where he told me that all of my staff members were not on their phone. They were not taking notes. For the entire 30 minutes, they were looking into my face and speaking as well. So, അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ കേൾക്കുമ്പോൾ the teachers just forget about money, isn't it? Because you're changing their lives. This 60-year guy who's struggling this for 20 years, you being a fresher, just fixes in 3 lessons. Can you imagine? So yeah, there are tons of stories, which I think we need a 10-hour podcast on. But yes, these 2 are the most ones which come to my mind.
ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ലാംഗ്വേജിൽ ഇനി മുന്നോട്ട് വരാൻ പോകുന്ന ലാംഗ്വേജ് സ്കിൽസ് പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നതിൽ വരാൻ പോകുന്ന മെത്തഡോളജീസ് ഒക്കെ എന്തൊക്കെയായിരിക്കും? വാട്ട് ആർ യു ലൈക്ക്?
Oh, I guess now I think it depends on people's needs, right? There'll always be a few things which never change. Confidence, interviews, those things will never change. But I think now finding how you can incorporate these new positions that are coming up. Freelancers. Nowadays, there are so many freelancers, people that need to pitch their service to a lot of people. Things like this are essential. Now, you can't teach English or communication to them like you teach others. There are other types of entrepreneurs. Teaching them would be difficult. Teaching people who are weirdly, there are a lot of people that want to voice their love opinions and stuff too. I'm not sure if I should go into that, but yes, that's also there. So there's always a constant way on how you should search new materials, how you can incorporate the right technologies into your business so that it never goes out of date and stuff too. And just making sure that you give quality service. Things like that are also essential. So I have now a very good system in place of people much smarter than I am who constantly do R&D to find out what is working, what doesn't work.
Right.
And then they suggest these to the teachers. If it doesn't work, they delete it. If it works, then they search about that a little bit more
So you're
too.
constantly
Experimenting and stuff too. So yeah, things like that never work. Recently, what we found is I mean, this is fairly recent. We found a very amazing prompt. You know, in ChatGPT, it depends on the prompts. No,
Yeah,
prompts
yeah,
അനുസരിച്ചിട്ടാണ് നല്ല ഉത്തരം കിട്ടുന്നത്. So we spent like 2 hours to find the perfect prompt where you can add these values, these problems, and it gives you a very good material too. You can't teach them just as it is, but from that, my teachers can put their values and then teach accordingly. So yes, constant search is very necessary.
സോ കേരളത്തിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ ഒരുപാട് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ട്രെയിനിങ് ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂട്ട്സ് ഉണ്ട്. നമ്മൾ ഓൾറെഡി ഫ്യൂ പോയിന്റ്സ് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്തു, ലൈക്ക് ഹൗ ബ്രൈറ്റ് സൈഡ് ഡിഫർ ഫ്രം ദം. എന്നാ കൂടി ടു ആഡ് ഓൺ ടു ദാറ്റ്,
I think the main thing that differentiates us is the feeling you have at the end of the session. Session, not course, at the end of the session, right? Now, one thing which I understood is that you can be a business or you can be a life-changing place. I'm choosing the second one. If it was a business, I would tell everybody what you would have after you join our course. I would put a ton of reels where I say that our students got this, got that. Now, sometimes some students are so happy that they want others to know. They're like, please put this in reels. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do that. But what I understood is that I'm going to keep Brightside a place where you can come for entertainment, come for wasting a little bit of your time, have a laugh or so, and you will only notice the difference, what differentiates us from all the other institutions after the first lesson. Now, I don't have to state this to a lot of students, or even in this podcast, I don't think it's necessary to tell what differentiates me. But to all the students that have completed a course at Brightside English, you guys know. I've had people that have worked with a lot of Malayali agencies too, and then they've come and be like, yeah, I understand now. That's the same thing which I have. And thankfully, I'm getting enough students for now. We don't allow everyone to come in. There's a limit to how many students we can take because we have only 53 teachers.
40 in a month?
Exactly. Now it's just 40 a month. We're increasing it slowly. ആദ്യം തുടങ്ങിയത്, it's funny. The main reason I did this was because I couldn't have this many students. I only have 17 teachers. I'm having 700 inquiries. Tula. So I was like, sorry, we're a high institution, only 40 students a month. But then I understood the demand increased then. So now I learned another business strategy. So now we're slowly increasing the amount of students that can come. We're filtering the amount of people that we teach and stuff too. So this isn't a place where everyone can join, particularly no. Now we're launching a new pre-recorded course for people that know English. We're launching a course for people that are advanced to or intermediate in
I
English.
was about to ask that,
Yeah. For people that English arayam, but they struggle with some aspects which we are really going to really dissect and show how you can use that to improve and stuff too. Because with this ability of me to speak English, I've been able to meet tons of people. I've been able to grow so well. So now I'm going to show you how you can use the skills you have to improve your career, your relationships, and all these things too. So yeah, those are those things. But to answer your question, what differentiates us, I think obviously you must have understood the team which I've hired. It's not the same. They're not my staff. They're people who I consider to be players. We have a sports-like culture. Some companies have a family culture, no? They're like, snake, no one firing, nothing. Yeah, we're not that. I treat people who, it's just like a sport. You score a goal, we will celebrate you. But if you do a mistake, it's fine. Just train harder. That's it. So yes, the quality of classes which we give, the job environment which we provide and stuff too, and the realization you have after the second lesson, like, oh, damn, okay, I understand now. So yeah, those are things which differentiate us, I suggest.
Right.
So we already discussed that you have an amazing team. Then എങ്ങനെയാണ് സ്റ്റുഡൻസിനെ സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള നിങ്ങളുടെ സിസ്റ്റം ആൻഡ് ഹൗ ഡു യു ട്രാക്ക് ദെയർ പ്രോഗ്രസ് ആൻഡ്
I think it's much more easy if you have a personal tutor to track the progress. കാരണം ട്രഡീഷണലി എന്താ നോക്കുമ്പോൾ ഒരു സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയർ ഉണ്ടാക്കണം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ഷീറ്റ് ഉണ്ടാക്കണം, എന്നിട്ട് അതിനകത്ത് കുറേ ഇതൊക്കെ ചെയ്യണം. പക്ഷേ നിങ്ങളുടെ സ്വന്തം ടീച്ചർ എല്ലാം ട്രാക്ക് ചെയ്തോളും. They have a very traditional and simple manner. We don't overcomplicate. One company where I was a student in, so that I could survey, non-ethical, I told you. So what I understood was that after each class, you had to do a survey. And think about, you're a working professional and break in the samaythani class എടുക്കണമെന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചോ, like most of our students, ഒരു ക്ലാസ് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഒരു ഡീറ്റെയിൽ സർവേ എടുക്കണമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ തലവേദനയുള്ള കാര്യമല്ല. എന്നിട്ട് വേറൊരു ഒന്നുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. Let's say that you have 20 lessons, and one lesson will be only feedback sessions, which is also kind of a time waster instead, you know. So what we've created is this course plan where in each lesson itself, we spend a maximum of just 30 seconds where we ask you, is everything going okay? How is it? Is everything going fine? Do you notice any improvements or anything below that or so? And then in case the student wants to talk more, then we do. But we only take 30 seconds and stuff too. എന്നിട്ട് ടീച്ചറിനെ നന്നായിട്ട് ട്രെയിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട് how you can analyze if they are struggling, if they are not showing any improvement, what you should do as well. So everything what I've done in a way is that everything finished in that one session itself. Don't give them any extra work to do except the exercises which they have to do as well. So I've shown my teachers how you can really analyze these students to show that whatever support systems which they have. Now, apart from that, I have a small HR team of really talented people who, in case class reschedule cheyanam, there's an emergency, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ I need to withdraw from the lessons or so, I have a very dedicated team that are really responsive. It's essential, of course, so that's going pretty well. Nothing special over there, just very simple things that work and stuff too. Now, there have been a lot of options for me to create an app for these things. Now, maybe I will consider it, but it's just like adding an extra step in there. I think that the main reason why we've been growing so fast is that there's just 3 steps. You watch a reel, swipe right, and then you book classes. That's it, right? Now, in case there is an extra step, I want to reduce it. But in case I'm creating an app, it would be for something entirely different. But yeah, there is a proper support system for our students and stuff too.
Okay.
So yes.
So Jonah, what are your future plans and how are you seeing yourself and Brightside 5 or 10 years down the line?
Oh gosh, that's actually insane because 3 years ago, I thought that I would be having in 3 years maybe 50,000 followers and 12 staff. That's what I was thinking, right? But now we're almost at 1 million.
You're already at
follow-
100, no? And
Exactly,
yeah.
yeah. Very, very close by. So I think it's really, I'm not sure. The thing is, I have 2 aspects to this. Either I be very ambitious and then force myself to dream very big so that even if I fail, I've reached super far, right? Or I follow the philosophical approach where I have no expectations, yet work extremely hard and then be happy with the results, right? But I think my answer would be a mix of both.
Okay.
Now, since I finished my degree, which was my mom's very big dream, ഒരു degree ഉണ്ടാവണം എന്നൊന്നാലും. So now I think I want to study maybe one more thing.
Just to add,
Yes.
normally you are in business, and is it important to have an MBA since you have done BBA and you're in a business?
Oh God, what do I answer that? I'm very underqualified for that, isn't it? There will be a lot of people that say what I'm going to say is wrong. But I think it isn't necessary, is it? Because
So you're planning?
no, I'm not. Not at all. Because what do I say? A few people who I've met, they haven't done an MBA and they're doing very well in business, isn't it? Okay, it depends. If you're doing an MBA to get a job, then of course an MBA is necessary, isn't it? But if you're doing an MBA to start a business, then it is a necessary. Does it help? Yes, sure. But at the kainatum, you'll still have to go through the same phases that any businessman has to, you know. But if you're doing an MBA expecting that I can get a jump stub, അങ്ങനെ ആലോചിച്ചിരുന്നാ മതി. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. So no, an MBA is not necessary at all.
Okay.
But yeah.
To follow up, BBA പഠിച്ചത് കൊണ്ട് അതുകൊണ്ട് ബിസിനസ്സിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും കാര്യം ഉണ്ടായെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു.
Well, ഒരു module was very useful. Only one
All the
module.
3 years and then one
All
module.
3 years, only one module was useful. It was such a shame. ഇപ്പൊ സിലബസ് മാറി കേട്ടോ. ഇപ്പൊ BBA 4 വർഷമാണ്. I think it'll be a little bit more useful now. പക്ഷെ ഞാൻ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്ത ഒരു ടെക്സ്റ്റ് ബുക്ക് എക്സൽ പഠിക്കാൻ from 2002. The textbook was 2002. So yes, that was a big problem. I was like, okay, this is BBA, business, right? Let's see what I can learn. Sadly, there wasn't anything which was useful. There were a few strategies which I remember my teacher teaching me, which I've implemented and works well. Then there was this one module about laws, intellectual property rights and stuff. Important കാര്യം അതൊക്കെ പഠിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. അല്ലാണ്ട് എന്ത് വെറുതെ മനുഷ്യരുടെ സമയം കളഞ്ഞു. But yes, it wasn't bad. But yeah.
So you don't have any PG plans?
I do. I think I want to do something related to English itself, or maybe something related to business or so, you know, something which I'm interested in. But one thing which was in my mind was these 3 years of college, there were so many times where I wanted to push so hard, but I couldn't because of the restrictions of studies or so. From morning 8 to 1:30 കോളേജിൽ ഉണ്ടാവണമല്ലോ. ഒരു പ്രത്യേകത ഉണ്ട്. കോളേജിന്റെ ബെല്ല് 1:30ക്ക് അടിക്കുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ 1:25 ഞാൻ ബൈക്കിലുണ്ടാവും. I leave instantly, go back home, teach, go to the gym and then start working, right? So that morning period, it was such a waste of 3 years, right? So now I'm saying like at least 1 year, I need to utilize the entire day. That's what I'm looking for because I've never done that. Only I was in school or I was in college while doing this entire thing. So now I'm really looking forward to.
So ജോന പറയുന്നത് ഇതുവരെയുള്ള ഒരു ഗ്രോത്ത് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ആകെ ഹാഫ് ഡേ യൂസ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടാണെന്നാണോ?
Yeah. Right? Can you imagine? What I'm thinking is how much more would I have grown if I had the morning time, right?
Yeah.
Don't go for
just
MBA.
Yeah, I'll promise you.
ജസ്റ്റ് ഗ്രാജുവേഷൻ കഴിഞ്ഞ ആളാണ്ട് ഞാൻ ചോദിക്കുകയാണ്. നമ്മളെ നാട്ടിലൊരു ഫ്രണ്ട് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നല്ലോ, എബ്രോഡ് പോയി സ്റ്റഡി ചെയ്യാൻ. സോ do you have any plans like that? Or?
That's a good question because if I'm settling here, I need to think about family, right? Obviously. Now, I need to think of a lot of things on that case itself. That's another podcast on its own. But thinking on this case, right now, Kerala, people say India is the most difficult place to start and grow a business in, right? Out of all the startups that start, none of them fail, right? But since I'm already here, it started to get a little bit easy for me. ഇനി ഇത് പറയുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ something bad will happen, watch. But as of now, I think I've created a lot of systems in place where it's going very smoothly now. So now it's getting way too easy for me. With the income I have, it's not a challenge at all, right? Now, I know that if you become comfortable, growth stops. Instantly growth stops. So what I'm thinking is now we see that USA is a hell to live in. So I'm obviously not going there. UK is also restarted a bit. Everything is
Yeah.
going a little bit grey and it's not that great too. But I think I have to go out because if I stay here, it'll just be too easy. You know, the last thing which I want is to lead a very comfortable life. I want to keep working for something where there's challenges every day so that I have something to look forward to, you know, because that's what really excites me, where I need to work for this, isn't it? That's what I really enjoy. So I think I have to move out because it's just another challenge though, isn't it? പക്ഷേ പഠിക്കാനായിട്ട് ജോലി അന്വേഷിച്ച് ഞാൻ പുറത്തു പോകണമെന്നല്ല, ആ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടുകൾ നേരിടാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് പോകണേണ്. ഇപ്പൊ എന്റെ ചേച്ചി കാനഡയിലാണ്. സോ ചേച്ചി അവിടെ ആദ്യം ചെന്നപ്പോ it was really difficult finding a house and stuff. ഇൻകമിന്റെ കുറെ ഇഷ്യൂസ് obviously ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. Now thankfully I may not have those things too, but incorporating to another place, the empire which I have over here is not there. Being in an uncomfortable situation, that excites me, you know. So maybe I'll probably go outside. But yes, we will see.
Right.
Okay. So we had all those serious discussions. നമ്മളെ വ്യൂവേഴ്സിന് വേണ്ടി നമുക്ക് ചെറിയൊരു ഗെയിം
Sure.
സെഷൻ ആയാലോ?
Indeed, yes.
ആക്സന്റിന്റെ കാര്യത്തില് ജോൺ ഓൾറെഡി പറഞ്ഞു വലിയ താല്പര്യമില്ല എന്ന്. എനിവേ നമുക്ക് ഇവർക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്
എന്താ പറയാലോ, അതിനിപ്പോ
എന്താ
എന്താ?
ചെയ്യാം?
Let's see.
സോ വാട്ട് വിൽ യു സേ? ലൈക്ക് നമുക്ക് റീസെന്റ് ആയിട്ടൊരു അവാർഡ് കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു, ബെസ്റ്റ് സപ്പോർട്ടിംഗ് പോഡ്കാസ്റ്റ് അവാർഡ്.
Congratulations, by the way.
Yeah,
It-
thanks.
1 year of podcasts,
Yeah.
and you guys got a business in it. You have no idea just how big it is. There have been big players in this game of podcasts,
Yes.
and you guys have got this award. It is nothing less than amazing.
you.
So that's just
Thank you so much.
amazing.
Thank you.
It's sick.
സോ നമുക്ക് അതിനെ പറ്റിയിട്ട് ഒരു ഫ്യൂ വേർഡ്സ് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് അത് ഡിഫറെന്റ് ആക്സെന്റിൽ
Maybe ഒരു congratulate ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു 2 sentences.
Congratulations.
yeah,
In
just-
different accents?
Yeah.
All right.
Or
just
sure.
one
Two sentences,
sentence
Okay, let's switch it
anything.
like
or
this.
anything
No?
you like.
Let's say,
Yeah,
no,
just
that's a
suggest-
good idea though,
Yeah.
about the award which you got. So let's
Yeah.
say that in the future, നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇനി, of course, this is going to grow as well, right?
Yeah.
Let's say that you start to pan India. You have people from all over India coming. And then you get business people from international places too. So let's say you have to receive awards from not just India. You have to go to the USA. You have to go to UK and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
So just in case, if you want to say it in different accents, right?
Yeah.
Take this as an exercise. So just for fun, if you want to practice different accents, you can use this too.
Yeah.
So let's say you're in the UK and you want to say an accent. All those people there, so many different slangs and stuff, right? You can't go there and talk like how we usually do just because they may not understand you. So first thing, if you want to sound more British, is നമ്മൾ നാക്ക് കൊണ്ട് സംസാരിക്കുമ്പോൾ മലയാളത്തിൽ എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ we usually curve our tongue a lot. It's a heavy presence. Like ഇല്ല, നമ്മ കുത്തിയാണ് ആ ഇല്ല എന്നൊക്കെ പറയണത് അല്ലേ? But in British English, you just basically glaze the tongue on top.
Okay.
So whatever you talk, it has to sound super light. There has to be that sound at the end of everything. So if you want to say a speech where you're congratulating, the first thing which you need to understand is lower your tone. Try to implicate Shashi Tharoor, right? The way how he speaks is where you formulate your voice very hard, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to gradually thank each and every one of you for providing me with this auspicious award. There are a lot of business podcasts over here, and I feel very honored to be able to have one of the best. I'm grateful for every single aspirant that have come into our podcast, and I'll be more than grateful to continue on further. So thank you.
Oh, wow.
That's one way.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
So that's one way where you can do British,
Yeah.
right? Now, this is a standard which most Indians can use. Now, there are a lot of other accents, especially in the Irish place where you want to talk, you have to talk like this,
Yeah.
right? Which is really difficult. മനസ്സിലാവണ്ട എന്തേലും. Stuff like this is really difficult as well. And then if you've watched the Peaky Blinders, the way how they talk is much more different, isn't it? You have to have the sort of Birmingham accent inside you.
Yeah.
Whenever you say a slang, you need to ensure that you put a few curse words in there, which I'm not going to do now. But yes, things like that, it's also there. Now, American accent is more particularly easy. This one, in എപ്പോഴും പറയുമ്പോ it's more difficult from an Indian to do that, but you need to flow. That's the only thing which I can say. Just keep flowing. So let's say that you're in Washington, D.C., getting an award for this as well. Now, in this one, you don't really go lower your voice. You always talk as if you're having fun. Again, US clients, like they always speak like that. So, gosh, what do I say? This award is something which I've always looked forward to, isn't it? Because I remember when I was in my basement filming my first podcast with my friends or so, and now here I am in Washington, D.C., filming this award. It's a dream of mine, isn't it? So there's a few different accents which you can practice and stuff
They use
too.
isn't it, right?
Exactly. So many things. And another thing, this isn't just about accents. If you're migrating to all these other places, before you learn the English communication, try to master the slangs which they use. British, they say in it a lot. They say right a lot too. In USA, they use so many different slangs and things too. So that's what you really need to focus on too.
Yeah.
But again, don't focus on your accent. Everything else will work out.
Oh,
So yeah.
Oh, super nice.
nice.
Yes,
Super
it
nice.
was.
Yeah. Nice.
Thank you so much.
Nice.
This was amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
I've seen so many podcasts from such a young age. To be in a podcast just like this, where the interviewees are absolutely amazing, it's
Thank
such
you.
a dream of mine.
Thank you.
I hope you guys get all the success in the world, and this has been nothing less than a dream of mine, and I thank you for allowing me to live it.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
John.
It was so
because,
sick.
see,
Some way to
you are our youngest guest so far.
Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
perfect.
So and ഇതുവരെ നമ്മളിപ്പോ ഒരു 2 hours പോഡ്കാസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട് and
Mm-mm.
it was fun.
Thank you so
It was
much.
good.
Oh,
So thank you so
thank
much.
you so
Thank you
much
so
as
much for
well.
your time.
Thank you.
And ഞങ്ങളുടെ ഭാഗത്തു നിന്നും ഞങ്ങളുടെ വ്യക്തിപരമായ പേരിലും വൈസപ്പിന്റെ പേരിലൊക്കെ എല്ലാ ആശംസകളും ബ്രൈറ്റ് സൈഡും
Thank you,
ജോയിന്റെ
sir.
ബിസിനസ്സിൽ ഒരുപാട്
Thank you.
ഉയരങ്ങൾ കീഴടക്കട്ടെ. Thank you
Big
so
deal.
much.
Thank you so much
Thank
to
you.
you. Amazing.